40 abandoned are resolutions. Researchers from Carnegie Mellon University have created the Hope Band, a wearable prototype that hopes to detect and prevent opioid overdoses. According to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, more than 115 people die from opioid overdoses every day. A new report from IEEE Spectrum says that the Hope Band is one of many products currently in development that attempts to address the epidemic with technology. When the wearable detects low blood oxygen levels, it sounds an alarm, flashes red lights, and even sends out a text message with the wearer's locations. The idea is that it can send a text message to someone who can hopefully arrive in time with some Narcan to bring the addict back. According to one researcher, the Hope Band is designed to basically have someone on high alert. Always! One researcher says, quote, "Imagine having a friend who is always watching for signs of overdose." It sounds terrible! Just terrible. Great for the addict. The other person's just like, "Oh my God, hold on a second, someone's dying." Nope, just my sitter. Anyway, I was saying, 1 second, someone's dying. Nope, oh Jesus, yeah. Well, the researcher must not know any heroin addicts because that's what you're always thinking. You don't need a watch after the person survives the 3rd or 4th overdose. You just assume that every text is an OD alert. Right now, the prototype costs around $30, but the team is hoping to have it as low as $16. The price point is the most promising as it is less likely to be pawned if it isn't particularly valuable. Although you'd probably be surprised how much heroin you can get for $16. The wearable uses pulse oximetry sensors that monitor blood oxygen levels using light absorption. If oxygen levels drop too low, the device processes data for 10 seconds before sounding the alarm. Next, the team will make sure that the Hope Band actually detects overdoses in real people, and will start by offering it free to opioid users through needle exchange programs. Personally, I don't know how this could offer any peace of mind, particularly to that friend. I picture the one guy who can't say no at the meetings, just having his phone blow up constantly. Researchers from Harvard University have created a soft wearable sensor that could help identify developmental disabilities in children born prematurely. It's common for kids born prematurely to develop neuromotor and cognitive developmental disabilities, but if they're caught early, they can be addressed. The problem is that they're hard to catch. This is why researchers developed a soft, light, wearable sensor that would attach to the kid's hand to measure things like grip strength and hand and finger motion. What's interesting is that the sensor is made of a non-toxic, highly conductive liquid solution, potassium iodide, a common dietary supplement, and glycerol, a common food additive. While it has only been tested on adults, the sensor was designed with children in mind. Kids might be a little more receptive to a small silicone rubber sensor that sits on top of the finger rather than bulky diagnostic gloves. Harvard's Office of Technology Development is currently looking to commercialize the technology, and now the researchers plan on scaling down the device so it can actually be tested on children. Something to do, make sure the kids like it. If it's for kids. In 2017, Mats Jarlstrom sued the engineering board in Oregon after he was fined $500 for engineering without a license. Jarlstrom, a resident of Beaverton, Oregon, reached out to city officials with a possible update to the formula that controls yellow traffic lights. It turns out that the formula was not only 60 years old, but responsible for many drivers being ticketed for running a red even though they started turning when the light was yellow. His pursuit of traffic light timing justice began in 2013 when his wife received a red light camera ticket. Being an engineer, he had to know what happened, how it happened, and most of all, how it could be improved to keep it from happening again in the future. Jarlstrom's problems started after he went public about his suggested changes to the yellow light timing formula. When Oregon's engineering board found out about Jarlstrom, his appearances on local news shows, and speaking engagements at conferences, it launched a 2-year investigation that ended with Jarlstrom on the receiving end of that $500 fine. The board claimed that he couldn't talk about traffic lights in public until he obtained a state-issued professional engineer license. The board threatened him with thousands of dollars in additional fines and up to 1 year in jail for unlicensed practice of engineering. The board also said that he couldn't call himself an engineer, even though he had a degree in electrical engineering and decades of engineering experience. Like many engineers in Oregon, Jarlstrom is not a state-licensed professional engineer, and state law provided that only licensed professional engineers could legally use the title engineer. Well, instead of giving in and paying the fine, Jarlstrom sued and said that it violated his First Amendment rights. On December 28, 2018, Jarlstrom won. A federal court not only said that he has a right to talk about traffic lights, but also said that the state couldn't restrict the use of the engineer title. The court stopped the state's restriction on the title engineer, saying it was, quote, substantially overbroad in violation of the First Amendment. It also said that the engineering board had a history of overzealous enforcement actions. Jarlstrom said that he is thrilled now that the court has stopped the engineering board's worst abuses. He says, quote, being an engineer is a big part of my identity, as it is for many people. And actually, 2018 marked the first resolution that I stuck to, as I resolved to no longer make resolutions, particularly at the turn of the year. I'm David Manti. This is Engineering by Design.